Oh, hey, buddy. Looking good today. Welcome to the Chefbuddy Wungit show, or as my youngest son likes to say, hey, buddy. Today we're going to be making a bit of a fusion dish, and we're focusing on seafood. Sustainable seafood, for that matter. We're going to put together an interesting mix of Japanese, Mediterranean, Mexican, Peruvian, and the fish we're going to use is sardines and anchovies. Just hold on a second. If you are like me and you walk into the grocery store and you walk into the canned fish aisle and just go and grab tuna in oil, tuna in water, salmon, pink salmon, like all that stuff is safe fish, right? Like, you know how that tastes. Your mom and dad probably used to make it. Maybe you make salmon sandwiches or tuna fish, anything, right? Like that's common stuff. And there's always all those, like that row of sardines. And it's like, oh God, there's still skin on the sardines, and there's sometimes still bone in the sardines. And it's really hard to wrap your head around, right? So I had a hard time wrapping my head around it. And then one day I decided to open up a can of sardines and mash it all together with the inspiration of making some kind of like a fish mousse or something like that. I mean, even as those words come out of my mouth, it just doesn't quite sound right. I'm sure there's a better way to describe it. And you're looking at these things and you're thinking, like, what do I do with them, right? Well, there are so many things that you can do with them. And the most important aspect of these fish is that they're low-trophic fish, i.e. they're way down on the food chain. So for example, tuna is an apex predator. Salmon is almost an apex predator. I mean, they're certainly eaten by much larger apex predators, but they're getting up there on the chain, and tuna in particular are up there on the chain. What ends up happening is they eat the fish that eat the fish that eat the fish that eat the fish. And with each round of consumption and with each move up the ladder of consumption for these fish, toxins like mercury can develop into the flesh, which is why we're often told, like, don't eat too much tuna. Well, guess what? Sardines eat plankton. And a lot of the time, plankton is vegetable matter. Or just little tiny microscopic organisms, and that's what they eat. And so there's nothing in their flesh that is bad for us. And in fact, because they are eating so close to the source of life, right? Because that's the primordial soup that we came from billions of years ago. They're eating that stuff, and that makes them some of the most nutritious, delightful food on the planet. And there's lots of things that you can do with them. So today we're going to make a unique mashup that really highlights how amazing this fish is. And also we're going to use anchovies. Now, anchovies are typically fish that not only feed other fish in the food chain in the ocean, they're also super low trophic. The majority of the anchovies that are caught in the world are actually turned into fish meal and fed to other fish in fish farms. Most of the anchovies actually come from Peru. The wild thing about anchovies is that when they're properly used, what they bring is umami to a dish. So the things that you can do with anchovies are incredible. They bring a depth of flavor to dishes without fishiness. So you just got to know that. So if you're using them in braises and stews, like anywhere where you need to eat vegetable dishes, you name it, anywhere where you need to bring out depth of flavor, anchovies can be used. They're an absolutely brilliant fish, and you should use them more, because the more people use anchovies, the less that they're ground up into fish meal, the less ecological impact that they have, the processing of turning them into the fish meal has. It's a whole host of things. They're beautiful fish, eat them. And oh my God, both of these things are absolutely chock full of the DHA and EHA, or whatever you call them, the omega-3 fatty acids. And there's probably more protein per gram of fish than there is in chicken or anything else in these particular fish. So like, just overall, they're an incredibly awesome option. So enough of that monologue, and I get super excited about things, and then I end up researching the heck out of them, and then it fills my brain up and it's all I can think about. So there you go. But let's get down to business and figure out what we're doing with these suckers. So what we're going to put together today, I don't even have a name for it, because I was sitting in my chair this morning thinking about what the next Chefbuddy Wungit was going to be, because sometimes I work really good under pressure, and I was thinking about all of the glorious things that I've eaten in the last while. It just came to me that it was going to be layers, starting with a crispy sushi rice, and then the sardine and anchovy mash, and then some just basic fresh tomato salsa, and a Peruvian green sauce called Aji Verde. So let's get to it. So we are going to do the classic sushi rice, utilizing our fabulous Instant Pot. You want to set your timer if you're using an Instant Pot. I mean, make the sushi rice however you feel like making it. You don't need an Instant Pot. It's just that, as you've seen in previous episodes, I really like the Instant Pot. It's a set and forget situation, so that's what I'm going to do. Pressure cook on high, and you're going to set it for 3 minutes. We're going to get a measuring cup and pull a big old bag of sushi rice out. Now this is a Kokuho rose sushi rice, and it's a no rinse sushi rice. It's totally fine to just pour it into the measuring cup and then pour it into the Instant Pot and add water and just carry on. No rinsing required. It's very convenient. We're gonna make an excessive amount because I like having leftover sushi rice, like even just for the next couple of days when you pull it out of the fridge and it's like all stuck together and it's just this perfect creamy moist rice. You just like throw a little dash of Bragg's or a little dash of soy sauce on, or maybe if you have, oh yes, maybe if you have extra of the Aji Verde, you pour that on there and eat that just midnight snack and stuff or whatever. Like, you hear what I'm saying. So I'm gonna make extra. So we're gonna go with 2 cups of that stuff straight into the pot, and then we're gonna put that away. Really important. This is actually like a pre-step. This is like, you know, if you're trying to make dinner for 6, like do this at 4, you know, or 4:30, because what we got to do is we got to cook this rice and then we got to rapid chill it down, because you can't do crispy rice with hot sushi rice. We put 2 cups of sushi rice into the Instant Pot, and we're going to put 2 cups of water. Give her a little bit of a stir around just to get it settled. Lid on. Let it do its thing. Once it has beeped, you want to let it sit for like 15 minutes or so to finish all of the moisture absorption inside. And then we're going to turn it out onto a pan and get it into a freezer to cool it super quick. So with the fresh salsa, one of the tricks that I've learned and seems to be making the rounds these days is to salt your tomatoes before they go into the salsa. Inevitably, after an hour or 2, it's a really liquidy, soupy mess. Well, this helps prevent it from happening. So we're going to get going on that now. Real simple, straightforward stuff. Let's make a 3 tomato salsa. And we're gonna wash these because they're nightshade. Although, you know, I've heard people talk about cooking with tomato leaves, which is terrifying to me. So I think I need to do a little bit more research on that one. I have a thing. Genius little piece of kit right there, right there. It is a tomato corer. It is an absolutely wonderful addition to the kitchen when you're dealing with tomatoes on a regular basis, because it's as simple as... All right, I made a mess out of that, but it is simple, but there you go, right? It's out, and now we can... Now that was just, they're really ripe tomatoes. That's the only thing about this. So you just want to pull out, see that? That's actually pokey bits and you don't want the pokey bits to get into your salsa. And then of course I need my bowls. I'm a bit of an excessive bowl guy, but one of the things I need bowls for, and I suggest you have bowls for, is just to put like vegetable cuttings and stuff so you're not constantly going to your compost or your garbage or whatever. All right, I got just a nice selection of bowls as required. I think for now we're just going to use this. We're going to cut the tomato into like 1 centimeter or maybe like 1/4 inch cubes. Remember, always fingers in. See that right there? That was me not having my fingers in, and I just shaved the edge of that fingernail off, and it sucks. Now for the rest of my life, my fingernail is going to grow out twisted like that. It's done. It's like a little dirt attractor, and it's heinous. And it could have been avoided if I just wasn't being all blah, 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 blah with my knife, you know? So I like to keep those digits tucked in. I mean, it doesn't have to look pretty what you're doing here. I mean, we're just making the salsa. One of the things that I really, I'm really passionate about, and one of the reasons why I'm doing the seafood theme on this particular one is because we've got to look after our oceans. So as I do things with seafood, I'm always trying to find sustainably caught seafood. Sometimes that's really difficult, especially with things like sardines and anchovies and mackerel and stuff like that, where it's not, you know, it's not super popular fish, so it's actually kind of difficult to find like certified sustainable fisheries with these particular fish. And so what I'm doing here is I'm encouraging you to look for it, and if you can't find it, to ask for it. Because the more people use it and the more people ask for it, the more that companies are going to provide it. Please, when you go into the grocery store and you see like the little row of sardines or whatever, and none of it's certified, ask a grocery manager, hey, is it possible to get MSC certified, or which is Marine Stewardship Council, or Oceanwise certified? There's a number of organizations in the world that put together lists and certifications for fisheries that we know will be sustainable, that will last for generations, that don't have significant bycatch, etc., etc., etc. So let's work on that together. That'd be really cool. So that we can do our tomato draining, I'm going to put the tomatoes in the sieve, and then I'm going to grab my trusty kosher salt, because salt is necessary for so many things in cooking and so important for flavor. And basically what we're doing is we're just mixing the salt up with the tomatoes, and we're going to set them aside and just let them drain. We're going to use a glass bowl to make our salsa in, because salsa is quite acidic and you want to stay away from metal bowls for leaching. It can really leach out the metals, and plastic, I don't know, I try to stay away from it as much as possible. So anyway, we're going to take a bunch of cilantro, and I don't know, you could go through and you could like pick out the leaves and all of that stuff, but I really don't think that that's necessary. There's nothing wrong with the stems. I've never noticed them to create a different mouthfeel. Okay, so that's about 10 times more cilantro than we actually need. But I can use cilantro in other places, so that's great. And I'm going to throw what we need into the bowl where the tomatoes will eventually go. And I'm going to say that's about 1/4 cup. And then I'm going to put the rest of that into a bowl for future use. Don't forget to get yourself a bench scraper, because it'll save your knife edges and you won't have to sharpen your knives quite so often or aggressively. Because when you're messing with the part of the knife that folds over. That's when your knife gets dull, it's actually the metal folding over on itself. When you hone, when you use a sharpening steel or anything like that, you're actually just bringing that edge back to straightness. Scraping it on your cutting board and on your mat and stuff like that is just, it's not good knife maintenance, so don't do it. You know, or just do whatever you want, because I'm not the boss of you, that's for sure. Oh yeah, that's coming together, bud. And then, I don't know. Yeah. And then we're gonna throw a little bit of salty salt into the mix. A little bit of flavor crystal. All right, we're gonna give these tomatoes a little toss here. But as you can see, there is a significant amount of tomato juice in there that is no longer going to be in the salsa, making it all runny and stuff. So that goes in. I do like the looks of this. That was just a yellow onion that I used. Some people might be more inclined to use a red onion or even a sweet white onion. It all depends on what you like. Everybody likes something different because everybody is so different. I often make the mistake of thinking that everybody thinks like I do or likes what I like or whatever, and that's so not true. And that can be frustrating at times for me. But at the same time, it makes me pause and listen and be curious. And then the world is better. Because diversity is better. Diversity of skin color is better. Diversity of gender is better. Diversity of music tastes is better. Diversity of body types is better. Diversity of orientations is better. Like everything is better when there is lots of different kinds. And so just for whatever it's worth, don't be afraid of what's different. Don't. And even like stop for a second and check inside and just like have a little quiet conversation with yourself about like what's different about you, you know, and then just listen for the answer. Or maybe there's something about you that like you got hidden inside that you don't want anybody to know about because you're totally afraid because it's different. Well, that's okay. That's okay. You're safe. You're safe, buddy. You're 100% safe. And of course, like I understand that no, you're not always safe. Like being different actually can be really unsafe and dangerous, and that sucks. And so if you feel unsafe because of your difference, I am so sorry. And I will endeavor to be your ally to the best of my ability. Yeah, nice and bright, super bright. And that's what we're looking for because the rice cake and the fish are all like super low frequency foods, like the way that they arrive in the mouth. Some of the tenets of like really good cooking are that you want to have diversity of texture and you want to have diversity of taste profile too. You know, you want bright and you want soft. You want umami, you want salty. Sometimes you want sweet. And then you need fat to like spread the flavor out. Like it just, this is the magic of food. Food is magical. That's why I'm doing this, because like it's one of the ways that I make magic, and I want you to make magic with your food too. What am I doing? Oh yeah, right, okay, got it. I need a blender because we be making, oh, get in there. Hey, also, cool, the sushi rice is done, so we're going to deal with it. Look at that glorious, glorious sushi rice. Always the fun thing to do with the sushi rice is add rice vinegar. You can make your own rice vinegar, lots of recipes online. I love this stuff. This stuff has the greatest flavor profile. And 2 cups of sushi rice, I would say like maybe a quarter cup of the rice vinegar. Maybe slightly less than that, but fairly aggressive. Okay, and then we're going to get some parchment paper and lay it down. And we're going to dump that sushi rice out and just spread it out all nice. Because like I said earlier, we've got to chill this stuff. It's got to be, the colder it is, the better. You know, this would actually work gloriously if you just made this rice the night before and just put it in the fridge or whatever. So we're just doing the rapid chill version. I'm just going to go drop this in my freezer. Right. Okay. So we're gonna make the Aji Verde now. There's different variations that you can do. The one that I'm using is with a 0% Greek yogurt. There's cilantro, there's jalapeno peppers, salt and pepper. There is a whole whack of cilantro and some lime juice. That's the basics. Oh yeah, baby. Cilantro. Just quite a bit of that. Jam that in there. These are really handy. You should get one. A wee dash of salt. Perhaps wee more dash of salt. Yeah, that's about right. And then we'll put a dash of a few grinds of the old peppermill so that it would add up to about 1/8 of a teaspoon. But like I said, the recipe will be in the thing. Some people like aggressive garlic. Some people don't like aggressive garlic. I've got garlic in a couple components of this dish. I really like garlic. If you really like garlic, use garlic because it's freaking delicious. Unless you have like an allergy to garlic, which would suck, but I know it exists. Okay, that's a good start. We're gonna blend that down, have a little taste test. Oh, look at the color on that. That is absolutely glorious. You know what? Okay, I'm gonna add to this recipe because it's Chefbuddy Wungit, and because the one thing about Greek yogurt, regardless of what it is, when you blend it, it gets pretty liquidy. So we're gonna pull out a little bit of mayonnaise, pour that into the dish. Throw a little bit of that in there. It just can't possibly hurt to have a little bit of really good olive oil. We're gonna taste that. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. That is Aji Verde, and you can put that shit on anything. Sardines, let's crack them. Look at those beautiful things. All of it is glorious. All of that is glorious, every bit of it. And in fact, sometimes you get like whole sardines and they come with like the bones and the skin and everything. Eat it all. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It all has great stuff in it. I'm just gonna drain off just a touch of the liquid there. And then I'm just gonna dump it all into a bowl. Okay, and then we're gonna mash it down. And just mash everything together because it's glorious and it's perfect. And you wanna really make this fine. Glorious, wonderful, little fishy fish. It's looking like it's fairly well mixed. And then we're going to just do some real simple touches here. We're gonna put a little bit of that lovely olive oil in there because it is absolutely magnificent. And this is like the real deal. This is Galega. Anyway, it's really good. And then we're gonna crack a little bit of pepper into that. And then we're gonna fire open these magnificent little anchovies. And you can see that little bit of fat and salt build up. I must stress that once again, when you use anchovy fillets, it's not fishy. So you can use it in all sorts of dishes. It's also super potent. I'm gonna start with 3 fillets and we're just gonna cut it up absolutely super fine. And we're gonna mix it in and we're gonna taste where we're at. I just cannot get enough of these things. They get a lot of use in my kitchen. In fact, I'm willing to bet that there's a bunch of dishes that you may have tasted when you were out and about in the world that you were like, wow, that's incredible. I don't know what it is about that recipe, but man, does it ever hit well. There's probably anchovies in it. That might not be enough. I guess we'll see. We're gonna put some lemon in there. Lemon is just so important with fish because there's a brightness factor that you just can't beat. So a little bit of fresh lemon. Remember when I talked about how much I like garlic? There might just end up being some garlic in this. Oh my God. There's just something so down home about that. Oh, it's just beautiful. And I think it can handle more fillets. So we're gonna go with a total of 5 now. And then we'll stop there. And then any future salting required, we'll just use a little bit of kosher salt. I really like where this is going. And I hope you notice that I'm doing the basics, like I'm putting together the basics, but I'm also feeling my way through it. Like that can be the difference between like really good food and really miraculous food. Okay, so we're mixing that last little bit of anchovy fillet in. We're gonna go with a little bit of garlic, and then I think we might even throw a couple capers in there because that's like a super complimentary flavor. So just a touch. It's beautiful. And then we're gonna grab a couple of capers because capers are delicious. Just gonna grab a small, like throw a tablespoon of those suckers in there. And they're this really bright sort of sour flavor profile that really can work with fish. And like all of this is kind of in the niçoise style. Southern France, Mediterranean. People talk about the Mediterranean diet. This here is why it's a wonderful way to eat, in my humble opinion. Oh my God. That's it. Do a little bit of cleanup, and then we're on to the building phase. So clean as you go, right? Like it just makes everything easier when you have a clean working space. Of course, I'm going to save these because that is pure flavor. Okay, so now we're going to do the final stages. We're going to cook that rice up, fry that rice up, waffle that rice up, and then we're going to put it all together and make some magic happen. Hey, buddy! Any waffle maker will do. Oh, I've never actually done this before. Shh. Thank you to the magic of the freezer. Our rice is nice and cold. The key to ensuring that this rice does not stick is, of course, a very healthy spray of oil. I happen to have an oil sprayer. Canned oil, I'm sure, will work, or just cloth with oil. But we're just going to make sure, because like sticky rice is sticky. All right, yeah. Let's go with that. So now I'm just going to get that off of here. And hey, that's cool. Because I already spread it out, it's already spread out. So that could be very helpful in this process as we just kind of jam the rice in where we think it should be to make the wonderful crispy rice. And you just kind of want to like treat it like you were rolling sushi. Just get it in there, push it in with your fingers. Of course, once you turn it on and squish it down, it will even itself out. But also you don't want to use too much because then it ends up like concrete, and we don't want that either. Gonna give that a little extra spray of oil. Oftentimes crispy sushi rice is made by just like literally dropping the rice into deep frying oil. So, you know, I figured that this is a slightly less oily version. So we're gonna turn that sucker on. We're gonna go to just max heat. And we are going to press it down. Just let it do its thing. We're going to do that thing I talked about earlier. That wonderful thing that you can do with sushi rice at midnight or whatever. Have a little snack. Yeah, all right. So here we are. The moment that we've all been waiting. Well, that I've been waiting for anyway. Sometimes it takes a while to crisp the rice up. Depending on your waffle maker, it could take 8 minutes, it could take 20 minutes, and it really depends on like what you're shooting for. The crispier you want it, the longer you got to leave it. So we're just kind of going with an in-between piece. So here we go. The big reveal. Okay. All right. I like what I'm seeing here. I like what I'm seeing right there. That stuff is worth keeping. So we're just going to come in there and with a combination of fork and flipper, not bad, not terrible. Maybe could have been better. And then we'll just keep pulling these suckers out, because as with sticky rice, it definitely sticks to itself. That's probably the biggest issue. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, wait a second. Hold on a second. Just get a load of this. Just one sec. Are you ready? There it is. That's what we were looking for. Right there. Nice and crispy. Absolute magic. Get the remainder of the ingredients out of the fridge, put it together, and eat it. Eat it, eat it. We get to eat it. Let's build these little magical beings. Just getting it out of the bowl. We'll get a nice even spread. I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited about this. I feel like I've been missing out on something really special about life with tin sardines and anchovies. They're just so delightful. A little bit of the fresh salsa, nice and bright. See how it's not all runny? Love that. And are you just picturing in your mind that contrast of flavor, that nice crispy hot rice and the super savory umami tinned fish, a little spice in the salsa, traveling all around the taste buds. And just because we are doing a little bit of Mediterranean, we're going to drizzle with a little bit of that beautiful, beautiful olive oil. And we're going to put a little bit of fresh cracked pepper on there. And then we're going to drizzle on the Aji Verde. And then it's time to taste the adventure. You even kidding me? That's like, I'm in. I'm super excited to taste it. If it's good, then you should make this recipe. I promise to tell you if it's not good. But I was having my moment in my chair this morning, and this is what came to me. So here we go. Oh, I'm scared. I stand behind the recipe, 100%. I'm gonna bring my son down to taste it now, and he won't lie. Yeah, okay, come on in. All right,
what we got here?
We've got a Chef Buddy Wungit special.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Check it out. Tell me what you think. Here we go.
Hopeless Romance, out now on all digital platforms. I don't even know what that is, but that is so good. That's crazy. Yeah. 10 out of 10.
All right, that's it. Chef Buddy Wungit coming at you, buddy. We'll see you next time. Love y'all. Mwah. Oh yeah, here's the end credit scene. Chef Buddy Catering. Like seriously, 1 person, 30 people, whatever. I will come to your house and make magic. So call me.